Oh lord, the reason that this Kenyan man hitched a ride on a helicopter at a wedding is actually wild.
Today we're looking at TikToks that will keep you up at night.
We're in the middle of an emergency landing.
Lean forward and brace your head against the back seat in front of you. Demonstrate your brace position now. Flight attendants will be passing through your cabin and ensure everything is done correctly.
Thank you to all the channel members for support. These are the winners of last week's riddle. What two-letter words added together contains the most letters? If you know, put it down in the comments, and as you know, you'll get a video shout out. Do what this guy says or they will come to your house. The scariest part about this video is said that 70% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let's go!
Called the firmament. Think about this. Why did almost every ancient civilization describe a flat earth under a dome? Look at the Bible. Genesis says, God made the firmament and divided the waters above from the waters below. If you zoom in on stars with a powerful camera, they don't look like distant balls of fire. They shimmer like they're underwater.
That does make sense though, because if you look at stars sometimes, they're not like just straight on. They do kind of shimmer a little bit, but at the same time, it could be because of the distance, but it does give off like a water reflective vibe to it.
Craziest things found under the ice on Earth. In Alaska, 2005, scientists find an ancient bacteria that had been completely frozen in the ice for roughly 32,000 years. To make matters even creepier, this bacteria came back to life after being thawed, with astrobiologist Richard Hoover claiming they immediately started swimming when the ice melted. In the Italian Alps, 1991, scientists uncover Otzi the Iceman. This mummy is a naturally mummified corpse of a man who died around 3300 BC. He also had an arrow sticking out of his back. In Antarctica, 2016, mysterious pyramid-shaped mountains were discovered, which led to many theorists believing that there used to be a thriving civilization in Antarctica before eventually getting wiped out. In Antarctica, in 2016 and 2017, many giant mysterious holes were found in the ice. These holes were found in the Weddell Sea, and one covered an area of 31,000 square miles, making it roughly the size of Maine. In Argentina, 1999, the sacrificed Inca mummy girl and children were found, one being a teenage girl, and the two children are believed to be 6 or 7 years old, and it is thought they were sacrificed for the Inca gods.
Don't miss. Sit down. A submission, please.
Sit down.
Let's go up. Sit down, everybody. Okay, Venice.
You know how scary that must be? Because that gorilla could honestly shred them. Like every single person in that vicinity, that one gorilla could just immediately just disarm them very badly and intensely and graphically. I wonder if that's just a natural thing for gorillas to just know someone's submitting when they sit down so they don't like really push forward. But what if he just doesn't care?
In 2018, a 29-year-old baggage handler named Richard Russell walked onto the tarmac at Seattle-Tacoma Airport and took off in a Horizon Air Q400 turboprop. No flight training, no co-pilot, just curiosity, confidence, and a bunch of YouTube tutorials. For over an hour, he flew loops and dives over Puget Sound, dodging skyscrapers and pulling off a barrel roll, something the plane wasn't even designed to do. At one point, he flew south toward Mount Rainier, admiring the view, then veered over Tacoma, circled Anderson Island, and buzzed low past McChord Air Force Base. F-15s were scrambled, commercial flights were rerouted, airspace was locked down, and yet Richard stayed calm. He talked to air traffic control like he was just on a joyride. He laughed, asked for help doing a flip, and at one point said, I played some video games. I know what I'm doing a little bit. Minutes later, the plane crashed on Ketron Island, a small and mostly uninhabited island near Tacoma. Richard died on impact. No one else was hurt.
Dude, why I thought he survived it? I thought he was just like, he's gonna land, it's all good. Bro, crashed. They do say takeoff and landing is the hardest part of flying, not when you're just in the air cruising. Like, that's apparently the easiest part. That's the part that you're actually least likely to die. They said that, like, when you take off, the chances are high, and when you land, the chances are also high, which makes sense.
Can you please explain to me in detail the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base?
Certainly. I've been waiting for this for seems like my whole life, and I literally fell out of my chair.
They observed a very large red square, estimated to be almost the size of a football field, approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities.
Radio transmissions start to pour in. As it became closer and closer to our position, it stopped and hovered right over the coastline. There's no propulsion systems, no lights, no audible sounds, and it just hovered there. And then just all hell broke loose. There was a lot of chaos. These are people I'd spent years with, and they're not people that are easily frightened or intimidated. And they were terrified, and they were screaming for help over the net.
This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains.
It just shot away up the coastline. It seemed like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like it was shot out of a cannon, and then it was gone. I mean, personally, I can't explain it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The way it hovered, to make no sound, to have no propulsion system. Our air.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had that at the UFO hearing a couple months back. I'm gonna see if I can put the clip in right now.
My next question would actually be for Mr. Graves. Can you please explain to me in detail the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base?
Certainly. In the 2003 timeframe, a large group of Boeing contractors were operating near one of the launch facilities at Vandenberg Air Force Base when they observed a very large 100-yard sided red square approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities. This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains. There was a similar event within 24 hours later in the evening. This was a morning event, I believe 8:45 in the morning. Later in the evening, post-sunset, there were reports of other sightings on base, including some aggressive behaviors. These objects were approaching some of the security guards at rapid speeds before darting off. And this is information that was received through one of the witnesses that have approached me at Americans for Safe Aerospace.
Was this documented in any official form, whether it was a police blotter?
Yes, they had official documentation and records from the event that the witness held over the years.
And I'm not going to ask you to do it right now for time reasons, but you'd be able to sketch what was witnessed, correct? And have you seen that before on any other equipment and or during your flight time?
I have not seen what they've described. This object was estimated to be almost the size of a football field, and I have not seen anything personally that large.
Okay, and then another question on follow-up referencing the gimbal video Go Fast incident.
That's crazy, dude. How they just come from the ocean and we kind of just have no power against them.
45-second fun fact. If we could create a video game that had conscious beings inside of it, then those beings would begin to explore that universe that we created, and eventually using mathematics could discover the origin of their universe, and that origin would be an infinitesimally small thing from which their entire universe came, which was entirely coded with the instructions and materials in advance for their entire universe, but which seemingly came from a massless nothing that just turned on out of nowhere, but eventually became everything they know to exist. And it would be very much like how we look back at the Big Bang, that all came from a subatomic particle with all the information coded and all the materials needed for this universe.
We might be in a simulation.
The dog waited loyally for his owner to step off the train, and he did this every day for years. But one day, the man didn't return. You see, he had passed away at work, but there was no way for his dog to know. And for almost 10 years, he stayed at the station, waiting for his best friend to come home. Other passengers would feed him, and his story spread across Japan. But finally, he took his last breath, still waiting at the same spot. Later, a bronze statue was constructed in his honor, but it was melted down for ammunition in World War II.
Students fled from Wilmer Hutchins High School Tuesday after a suspect opened fire at the Dallas school, shooting 3 males and injuring another. School officials say the suspect is in custody. Sources tell CBS News Texas he turned himself in to the Dallas County Jail and is a student at the school. He will be charged with multiple counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
He called me and said, "Mama, I got bullets flying around my head."
Shauna Williams has 2 sons at the school.
I'm thinking about taking them out and putting them in homeschool. I can't keep going through this as a parent. I'm telling you, it's very frightening to ever think about losing your child.
For many, Tuesday's incident was deja vu.
It was very traumatic.
Last year, a student was injured in a Wilmer Hutchins classroom after being shot by a fellow student. The school district said it strengthened its security measures after that shooting. According to its website, the district installed about 400 metal detectors in secondary schools during the past 2 years. All students are also required to wear clear backpacks.
The gun did not come through during regular intake time, so it was not a failure of our protocols or of the machinery that we have.
Despite enhanced measures, some students say they aren't surprised a shooting happened again.
So it's kind of normal to us with the security issues.
Now, that student you just heard from says she heard 7 gunshots. Dallas Fire Rescue says their injuries range from serious to non-life-threatening, and the victims' ages are from 15 to 18. One of the victims' ages is not known.
So what happens when one of the world's top neuroscientists takes the strongest psychedelic known to humanity? And after decades of studying how consciousness comes from only the brain, this is how one 10-minute psychedelic trip changed everything. World-renowned scientist Dr. Christoph Koch is known for developing models of consciousness and how that integrates with reality. And so, when he inhaled 5-MeO-DMT, the strongest known psychedelic on the planet, his entire worldview on consciousness shattered. He says during the trip that there was no concept of space, time, memory, or even himself, and that there was just unbearable light full of terror and ecstasy, where he says he became the universe. And this connects back to his concept called the integrated information theory, basically saying how consciousness does not only come from the brain, but comes from how connected we are. So the example is, imagine if you're in a group chat where everyone is talking, it's very chaotic, and no one is listening. So that's what we call low connection. Versus high connection, which is when everyone is deeply listening and responding to each other. So the more your brain is connected to a system, the more conscious it is. So in the integrated information theory, if 2 systems, you and the universe, become more connected, you just don't stay separate. You merge and become one consciousness. Key takeaway here is Dr. Christoph says that consciousness is reality experiencing itself.
Because not only is it different than what you thought, it happens so quickly. You know what the impression I had that I never expected to have is you shooting up.
Oh my God.
And this new sky.
Come here. I want one. I want to hear this. Here. You want a little of this? Okay.
The champagne showers have begun.
The Trump administration's science director has come out saying that American tech can, quote, manipulate time and space. That's not an accident. You don't say that as a turn of phrase. That is not a way you describe calling someone on the phone. Something doesn't quite add up as to why he's saying this. And recently, Donald Trump issued a veiled threat to China saying, she's a smart guy, we'll negotiate. Because otherwise we have weapons and no one knows. Don't believe me? Let's play these clips. My friends, I think we have more than enough ancillary evidence to suggest the U.S. has technology that is undisclosed and may meet disclosure. And it lines up with a lot of theories online researchers have, and the media calls them conspiracy theorists. But listen to this from Donald Trump first.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. So let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, even not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not.
Not even close. And then you have this video. Take a listen to what the Trump administration science director has to say about our technology.
Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity.
What did he mean by that, and why did he say it? My friends have said, Tim, he's simply referring to vehicles. We can leave distance annihilated. He's talking about driving a car, flying a plane, rocket ships. No, I don't think so. Annihilating distance does not mean moving very quickly. And I don't know anybody who's ever expressed themselves in that way.
Ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. Have y'all seen the video of that guy who said that his side hustle is a grave digger and that him and his coworker went to, do their job. And while they were lifting up the casket, he noticed that it was extremely light. And he asked his coworker, like, yo, why is this so light? And the guy was like, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. So then right after that, I saw this lady who used to work for the cemetery. And she pretty much said, like, there's no way all these people that have passed on, there's not enough room for them. There's definitely not enough room for them. And she was like, if you really want to know where they go, check your restaurant, check your grocery stores, She's like, I lied to you not. This is what's going down.
17-year-old responsible for shooting up a Dallas high school yesterday just released this video of him on his way to turn himself in.
I love all my peoples, man. Nigga told me he was gonna kill me. All these niggas told me they was gonna kill me. Look what happened. I love my Sandra. I love the nigga behind this camera. I love Yana. I love my nieces and nephews. All of them. I want everybody to know I love them. People named that I didn't name, trust me, I love you. I can't think right now, but I love y'all. This is my last time fuck around be seeing y'all. Last time talking to y'all, excuse my language, but I love y'all.
He goes on to say in the video that he knows that he was wrong for what he did, but apparently those people at the high school said they were going to end his life, so he had to jump them before they had the chance to. Now, people started to jump all over the school claiming that it was their fault for what happened, but it turns out somebody let him in a side door and he was able to get into the campus and into that hallway to do that act. Now, there's also a rumor that this whole thing started because of a dice game that these students were arguing about, but that is still not confirmed yet.
Wendy's has refused to apologize to Katy Perry. So when Katy Perry went on her little space mission to hold flowers in space and stare into the camera, I guess, Wendy's made a tweet basically just saying we should leave Katy Perry in space. They're probably thinking of that tweet longer than Katy Perry was actually in space. Anyways, this tweet caused a lot of controversy, especially since Kesha jumped in agreeing with Wendy's without straight up agreeing with Wendy's. And because of all the controversy, people started calling on Wendy's to apologize to Katy Perry. Basically, they're saying Wendy's has no reason to beef with Katy Perry. Now, Wendy's actually did end up responding to this whole situation, but they refused to actually apologize. Let me tell y'all their statement. They said they have, quote,
a ton of respect for Katy Perry.
and her out-of-this-world talent. I see what you did there, Wendy's. But that was it. They never actually said sorry to Katy. And now there's like a lot of Katy Perry stands basically saying they're going to boycott Wendy's. I mean, I'm sure Wendy's going to miss the 2 Katy Perry fans in 2025. I don't know. She might have a new fan base in space now. But if that's the case, I doubt they'd be going to Wendy's, regardless. But what do you guys think?
It blows my mind that more people don't realize that today was one of the most groundbreaking days for space in history. Scientists have just said that they are 99.7% sure that there is life on this planet that's only 124 light years away. What's even crazier is how they figured this out. Scientists were able to use the James Webb Space Telescope to analyze the light coming off of K2-18b's atmosphere, and it was missing one important part of the light. This unique part of the light that's missing indicates to scientists with 99.7% confidence that there is a gas on the planet called DMS that on Earth only exists as a result of life and is produced in massive amounts by phytoplankton in the ocean. And then it is basically an ocean planet, which makes me wonder what other life is lurking in the oceans of K2-18b.
Scientists have found a perfectly preserved dinosaur embryo inside of a fossilized egg. Wow.
This is breaking right now. We are just learning within the hour the United States military shot down another what's called high altitude object off the coast of Alaska. This one, according to military commanders, was threatening U.S. air traffic because of the altitude it was flying at, apparently around 40,000 feet. The president gave the order to shoot it down. It came down in the waters over Alaska, which right now are frozen. The White House officials are confirming that it is the size of about a small car, so it is seriously smaller than the huge balloon that was shot down off the East Coast last weekend. At this point, the White House is also not confirming who owns this high altitude object. More information is coming.
Interesting. The following film shows the human energy field radiating outward from the body. It dynamically changes based on the physical conditions, the feeling states, the motivations of the person, in interaction with energy radiation from objects and living things. The existence of the human energy field, or the aura, was validated and studied by over 12 years of high-frequency recordings. This film shows the field not ordinarily seen, but now visible. Like all living things, this little dog has a sizable radiant field, even when he sits quietly. Notice now, as he greets his master, the obvious love and affection between them increases the dynamic radiation from their bodies, even the dog's tail and the man's head. No wonder so many people have pets who give them pleasure and provide a vital field of energy to interact with. Wherever there is motion in the universe, there is increased flow in the field that humans interact with. See the explosive activity from the waves and from his body. Also, the electromagnetic field of the body is negatively charged or ionized, as are waves or tumbling water, which further expands and heightens his field, giving a physical exuberance and emotional excitement. No wonder that a day at the beach is so exhilarating and vitalizing. We all love a babbling brook and the freshness of outdoor vegetation and mountains. Most of us believe that it is relaxation and beauty which refreshes us. From our research, we have discovered that living plants and rarefied atmosphere provide a richer field of negative ions, which heightens and replenishes our own energy field. Notice that the man's field becomes light in color and high in frequency. It sparkles and radiates some distance from his body. See that as the child moves into the mother's field, the affection between them changes the overall field to a pink color. Individuals' fields blend and enhance when there is a warm, caring relationship. These energy fields are the largest and the whitest that we have shown. She is oming. On the breath inhalation, the radiant field diminishes, and on exhalation, it expands and envelops the child. We have known for a long time that Gregorian chants, oming, humming, singing, and whistling create an energy which perks up emotions and brings an expanded consciousness.
Crazy. If you guys never knew, now you knew. Wow. That proves that there's a lot of things seen and unseen. Sometimes you could pick up on people and you really be like, I kind of just don't vibe with that dude just because your guys' auras are just clashing, And there's some people that you vibe with and you guys are just, yay!
Holy shit. You guys have seen this video of Chris Watts, right? Most of us in the true crime community are already familiar with it, and everyone always points out the fact that the TV behind Chris is playing a commercial depicting an unborn baby inside of the womb. Chris then looks over at the cop and mentions that his missing wife, who we all know he unalived, is also pregnant and says that she's about 14 or 15 weeks along. Almost like him watching that little clip sparked that reminder in his dumb head. But did anyone else catch what shows up after that? It's an oil spill. It literally looks like oil with a skull in it. That commercial is actually from American Horror Stories Apocalypse, and this to me just solidifies my belief in the afterlife so hard. Because you can't tell me that Shanann isn't in this room right now with this man who took her life, her precious daughter's lives, and her unborn baby's life. She just has to be conjuring this all up as her sleazeball of a husband is being questioned by police about the whereabouts of his entire family. She is literally screaming through the TV, "We're in here, come find my babies."
This new footage from a camera trap is something I want to talk about. There are some interesting implications for evolution with this video. It comes from an island just over 8 miles off the coast of Australia, Kangaroo Island. This island is full of native wildlife. It's an area that's it's been kept pretty natural. And this is actually Victoria. Victoria is a dachshund that was brought to the island by her owners last November, so almost a year and a half ago. She got loose from her crate and escaped, and eventually, as a pet owner, I have to imagine you kind of give up hope that that animal is still alive. Over the last month, sightings started to pick up, and it turns out this dachshund is still alive and has likely been persisting thanks to food like roadkill and then whatever she can manage to get. If you think about dachshunds, they were originally bred as hunting dogs. That body shape allows them to get burrowing animals more efficiently. And that's one of the things I find really interesting about this, is that humans, we domesticated dogs well over 20,000 years ago from ancestral gray wolf populations. And over time, we used evolution to guide them into these different things that provided different jobs for us. They did different roles. And now a lot of those dogs, like a dachshund for example, they live alongside people and they don't necessarily do the things that we had caused them to evolve to do. So it's kind of interesting to see that this dachshund, the dachshund's owners, they admit that this is a dog that was pampered. This was a dog that was always by their side. This was not a dog that you would think was going to survive for over 500 days in the wilderness. But when given the chance, surprising things have happened. It's an interesting throwback with Australia with dingoes, as we now know that dingoes descended from the dog lineage. So their ancestors at some point, the evidence suggests, were domesticated. They ended up either being brought to Australia by people or somehow kind of making it along with the people, and then some returned to the wild. Over thousands of years, it led to the lineage today that we call dingo.
My grandma used to always say, if you don't like somebody, don't talk about them. If someone's doing something bad to you, don't talk about them. Don't give any energy towards them, because the more energy you give someone, the better off they will be. They will do well in life, things will go well for them, and you'll be like, oh, they did me wrong, and yet look how well they're doing. I didn't really believe it at the time. I didn't really think too much about it. But recently I watched this video where this guy was talking about energy pendulums, how everything, every person, every politician, everything, any subject you want to think about is an energy pendulum. And the more energy people give it, whether they're talking bad about it, good about it, but they're giving their energy, they're feeding this pendulum their energy. And the way it works is the pendulum with the most energy wins. And people forget that their energy, their attention to things is very, very powerful. Now, whether I like someone or not, I don't really want anyone to do badly in life. But if you're being horrible to me, I don't want to waste my energy on building you up. And I know it's hard, it's annoying, because when people do you wrong, you want to talk about it, you want to talk about them, you want to vent all this frustration out. And you know what? Do what you got to do to make yourself feel better. But just remember, the more energy and attention you give something, the bigger and bigger it gets, the more it wins, the more it prospers. And if you think about it, that's kind of how everything works. The more attention and energy you give to something, the more it increases, whether you want it or not. You tend to see more of it, you tend to experience more of it because you've given it your energy. It just grows and grows. So when I heard this in the video, it reminded me of what my grandma used to say. If you don't like them, don't talk about them. They don't exist. You are above that. Your energy is so powerful. Don't give it to them. If you don't like what they're doing, you don't like what they are, don't contribute to them winning whilst being this awful person. Don't do it.
Remain seated, remain seated.
We're in the middle of an emergency landing.
Lean forward and brace your head against the back seat in front of you. Demonstrate your brace position now. Flight attendants will be passing through your cabin to ensure everything is done correctly.
Love you, bro.
I'm kind of interested in that because why was the plane about to crash? Like, it seemed like they landed. Was it like an engine problem or like a wheel problem? That's crazy, dude. And in my head, I was like, bro, why are they yelling, stay down, heads down, stay down? Like, that chant is so like scary. Like, what the hell? Like, imagine you're in a plane crash and they're telling you to brace forward, and then like you're just hearing heads down, stay. Like, also, I heard something that the brace position doesn't necessarily save your life. It actually kills you quicker. So when the plane hits, you just like freaking fold. You know what I'm saying? Like, they tell you to brace forward and it just breaks your neck when it hits. Do you guys believe in that? Let me know if you guys believe in that, because if that's true, that's crazy. Like, they tell you to brace so you don't, because if you survive the crash, you could sue them for a lot of money. So they kind of want you to die. So then they come up with the brace position. I don't know. Maybe it does help. But like, I've heard that it just kills you quicker. I'm not sure. Like, if you guys know, please let me know, because that's interesting if that's true.
Year-old accused of fatally stabbing another student at a Texas track meet has walked free from jail. Carmelo Anthony posted a reduced $250,000 bond after it was lowered from $1 million. As he left jail, Anthony stayed silent and stone-faced, ignoring reporters' questions about 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, who died in his twin brother's arms after being stabbed in the heart. The incident allegedly started after a brief dispute over seating under a team tent. Anthony's family says more than $415,000 in donations are being used for legal fees and safety after receiving racist threats. Prosecutors questioned why the funds weren't used for bond. Anthony, who had no prior arrests and was captain of both the football and track teams, now faces a first-degree murder charge and must wear an ankle monitor while under house arrest.
Dude, what is going on? We literally just heard about the kid that literally shot up the Texas high school. And then now this dude, like, what is going on? I'm pretty sure that's also in Texas. That's crazy. And why does he have a knife at a track meet? When I used to do track, I didn't think no one needed to bring no knives.
Russia has sent a terrifying World War III threat to the UK, warning that they will kill all British people. Russian TV propagandist Vladimir Solovyov issued a direct threat to nuclear war and has declared the UK and US are directly waging war against us. He said that Russia sees right through a coalition of peacemakers and that world leaders would feel their consequences the same as the soldiers on the front line. He went on to say, it's not that they may perish, they will certainly perish. We will kill them them all. A spokesperson for the UN Secretary General said that attacks against civilians and civilian objects are prohibited under international humanitarian law, and that any such attacks, wherever they occur, must end immediately.
Michael Jackson spotted in the backyard of a luxurious Palm Beach mansion. 12 years after his death, footage of a shadowy figure moving through the estate has sparked a wave of speculation and disbelief. The posture, the movements, even the way he turns his head, it all eerily resembles the King of Pop. But what makes this story truly unsettling is the house itself. For years, the media reported the property as abandoned, rumored to be on the market twice. But the truth is something else entirely. The mansion is still legally owned by his daughter, Paris Jackson, and it has never officially been listed for sale. Since the day of Michael's alleged death, she's refused to set foot inside, but she's also refused to let it go. In rare interviews, she simply said, "Some things are meant to be left where they are." Neighbors, however, have a different story. For years, they've reported strange noises, lights turning on and off with no one inside, and most chilling of all, faint music drifting from the walls, familiar songs only one man could have created. Some claimed they saw a figure in the upstairs window, but no one took them seriously.
I feel like people don't understand that a lot of these houses can also get broken into. So a lot of these times they might hear things or see things. It could be people breaking in, because I know a lot of celebrities' houses, if they don't have any security, can also get breaking into, which is a little bit crazy, but you know, and that's the name of the game.
Oh Lord, the reason that this Kenyan man hitched a ride on a helicopter at a wedding is actually wild. So recently, a famous musician was getting married. So he had a big traditional wedding with music, food, dancing, and of course, a lot of celebrity guests. One of which was a massive YouTuber who turned up in a freaking helicopter to shorten the 7-hour drive from Nairobi. But when it came time to leave, one of the guests, who I'm not even sure was invited, approached the passengers knowing that they were wealthy and asked for money. When they refused, he asked them to at least give him a ride to Nairobi. When they refused again, he actually had to be removed by security. But that did not stop the bicycle repairman and father of two, because somehow he returned, and bro said, "I am not taking no for an answer." When the pilot eventually noticed, he quickly made an emergency landing, dropping him off unharmed in a nearby field. Shocked that he actually survived, locals ran to him and lifted him up in the air in celebration. Now, he has since been arrested for putting the passengers' lives in danger, but refused to apologize, saying that it was exhilarating. He said he usually relies on donkeys for transport, so the flight marked a historic moment for him. He even managed to keep his slippers and claimed that he could have lasted the entire 65-minute flight.
Dude, I do not know what that guy's talking about. He definitely could not have lasted that entire 65-minute flight. At max, probably like 3 minutes. Maybe even 5. You know, benefit of the doubt, I'd give him like 6 minutes max that he could last on that. Max. But yeah, man, that's crazy. I told you, these are some crazy clips. Remember, guys, if you haven't yet, it says 70% of you guys are not subscribed, man. Remember to subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Like the video. Let's try to get to 100K subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Let's blow up. Do some crazy stuff, man. If you watched this video, thank you for your time. Catch y'all in the next one.
Thank you all for watching this here.